I will say, if the Chiefs win against the Bengals on Sunday, I think they're going 5-0 to start heading into the boy.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
21 questions here on KC Sports Network, presented to you by Braden's Hope for childhood cancer. Did you know that 47 children are diagnosed with cancer every single day in the U.S. alone? At Braden's Hope for childhood cancer, we are working to make a difference in the fight against childhood cancer. Braden's Hope funds research to find cures and safer, more targeted treatments for childhood cancers, but they can't do it alone. Join us in the fight against childhood cancer. Your support can bring hope to families and save lives. Visit bradenshope.org to learn more and get involved. Together, we can make a difference. I am here with Matt Hamilton of the Laboratory Wednesdays. Matt, thank you for, I think this is your first time on 21 Questions, correct?
I did a 21 Questions with BJ last year. First time doing it with you, so very excited.
Oh, how was the first time? How'd it go?
I think it went pretty well. You'd have to ask BJ. I'm biased, but I thought I did. I thought I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I'll have to go back and critique it now, but I'm really excited because this is just a fun episode. We get to kind of hang out here and answer some fun questions, and it's all coming from the KCSN Discord. You sign up for the KCSN Discord by signing up for the KCSN Substack. There's a link in the description of the show, so you can get your questions asked for 21 Questions. This is going to be a lot of fun with myself and Matt Hamilton, and Casey from KC leads us off. Which position group would you like the Chiefs to shore up at this point? I know it's early, Hamilton, but what do you think one game in?
Yeah, I mean, it is early. We, and they look pretty good. Pretty darn good week one, but I guess if I had to pick one, to me, you can never have enough edge rushers. I'd love to see maybe a little more depth at edge rusher. Especially knowing how Spags likes to deploy his guys. That's one position you can never have enough depth. I know you could also say secondary, but I would go edge rusher.
No, I'm with you on edge rusher too, and I will say, I don't think I said this on the show last week, but I thought Felix Anudike-Uzomah had a solid performance for his first game of 2024. So there's definitely a lot of improvement to be made, but he did some good things. I still think they need more at the pass rush position. I still think they need a more bona fide edge rusher until Charles Omenihu returns. And like you said it to your point, Hamilton, you can never have too many of those guys. I think it's only going to become more and more important that this team finds more help at the defensive end position. So I still think that would be a position I'd like to see them shore up. Hokie Chief asks, what alcohol makes you instantly gag?
For me, it's Jaeger. Had a bad experience in college, and just the smell of it now, I can't even get near it.
It's rum for me. I can't do rum. Don't like rum. Don't want. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm past. I'm all right. Chiefs 8120 asks, with the team getting Hollywood and Omenihu back during the season, what position group would you target at the trade deadline? Is it still edge rusher, or what are you thinking? If you know that you've got the help there, you can survive all the way up to the trade deadline. What do you look at there?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we got to see how this plays out, obviously, over these next couple of weeks. I'm still interested in seeing, last week against the Ravens, you don't face any other offenses like that, so it's hard to get a read on certain things to me. And that cornerback spot is definitely still one where I would keep my options open, and I could see them doing something in the trade market.
I think, when we were kind of discussing, the moves for this team, I thought edge rusher made more sense. Maybe an early addition, and then you try to address the cornerback position at the trade deadline. That's kind of what my approach would have been, try to improve it now, the edge position now, just so you have more help and support until Omenihu gets back. And then at the trade deadline, if you feel you need a cornerback, that's where I go do it. I do think there seems to be more cornerbacks available, at the trade deadline. Like you saw Rasul Douglas trade, last year. So it feels like there actually can be some moves at times. Did Jalen Ramsey get traded like before the deadline or a couple of weeks before the deadline or something like that? To I think it was the Rams when he was with the Jaguars. So like, I don't know. I think you can make some cornerback trades. I think that one's the one that makes the most sense to me. All right, yeah, go.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, it's true. There are more of those guys available, I feel like, at the deadline. Edge rushers, as we know, are always going to come at a premium.
Yeah. I think Rasul Douglas, the good news for the Bills was I think they got him for multiple years of club control, too. So, like, I think he's under contract for this year, too. So, like, if the Chiefs do that, probably should try to find a situation where you can, have an additional cornerback on the roster for more than just a rental. That can also be kind of a way to approach that as well. So, Kyle C asks an interesting question. What is the best trip you've ever taken?
Man, best trip I've ever taken. That is an interesting one. A little out of left field for me on this show. I would say honestly, like, I know it's going to sound like it was a work trip, but like the trip to London last year for the show was pretty awesome. We got to go. We were at the Jags Bills game. My wife got to come on the trip, which was a lot of fun. So we got to enjoy London a little bit more than some of the other times I had been there for. And just getting to share that experience with her was really special, and like take her to the game and all that. And it's just such a cool atmosphere over there. Just seeing how they've embraced football more and more and more too. Like they love it. They pack those stadiums, and it's just cool to get to experience it from that vantage point. So I would say that.
That's awesome. I would love to go to those games someday. That would be that'd be cool. You're a fellow Costco king, Kirkland king, correct?
Oh yeah, big time.
All right. So Hamilton, yeah. Have you dabbled in the Costco travel at all?
I have not dabbled in Costco travel at all. Here we go.
Look at this man. That is a handsome Costco photo right there. If I do say so myself, man. Like, it's hard to make yourself look good in that picture, but you're pulling it off right there, buddy. But you haven't done the Costco travel yet.
I haven't yet.
Ooh, buddy. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of like, this is like one of my best finds ever, right? At Costco. So there was a deal going, and we booked like a year in advance, but you don't have to pay it all out at once if you're buying at Costco. Sometimes you require like a few $100 or whatever. It's nothing crazy. Mm-hmm. I got 5 nights in Oahu on Waikiki Beach in a rental car and like $250 in resort credit for like $1,700. And
That's
so
insane.
It was insane, dude. So last year, my wife and I, for our 10-year wedding anniversary, we went to Hawaii, first time ever, and spent 5 days out there. When I was checking the rental cars, they were like almost the same price as the whole trip itself. Like if you were trying to book like a week out to get a rental car, it was like almost the same price to do that. But we had a great time. We snorkeled. We went up to the North Shore and just hot beaches, went up and down the coast and drove down the coast. Did some zip lining in like the trees and all that kind of stuff. Incredible trip. Like that was just like, oh, it's so much fun. It was like the Costco, it was the deal too. Like it was the thrill of the deal too.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Dude. Did it come with a chicken bake and a double chunk chocolate cookie?
It did not. But I still gave the entire trip 5 booms. So there is that. Yeah. Kyle C also asks, who is or was your hero growing up and why? Deep question.
Well, these are deep. I appreciate Kyle for going there. I would say, I was from like the age of 5 just completely obsessed with the NFL. So I was a big Michael Strahan guy growing up. I would say him. Growing up in the New York area, Giants fan. watching him every single week, and he was like the one constant on that team because when I was a kid, they were not very good for a long time, and got to see them make that run in 2000. But yeah, I would say it was Michael Strahan.
Nice. I know it's sappy, but it was my dad for me, and my mom too. Honestly, like what they did. You look back as you get older and just realize what your parents do for you, and I think, more and older I get, the more I appreciate what they did for me back, as growing up, and still to this day for sure. But yeah, they set a good example for me, and yeah, I mean they did a lot for me and my brother growing up. So I'm not trying to get too sappy, but that's definitely
that was beautiful, and it also makes me feel like a horrible person for my answer. So,
picking Michael Strahan. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. I went sappy. I went full sap for a minute. I had to, so it is what it is. Arrow asks, how disappointed are you if the Chiefs don't start 5-0? And he also asks, how disappointed are your parents going to be if they hear this and know that I'm just kidding. How disappointed are you if the Chiefs don't start 5-0?
I know they will hear this because my parents are awesome and they love to listen to everything I do. So yeah, this is not going to go well for me on that front. But as far as the Chiefs, I mean, are we at that point already, guys? Like back-to-back Super Bowls, we're at the point where we're going to be disappointed without a 5-0 start. After seeing what happened last year, if they're not 5-0, I'm not going to be disappointed at all because it's not about that. It's about the postseason and what happens when they get there, and this team is going to turn it on. So I think last year should teach us, don't read anything into the regular season because when it matters, this team is going to have it.
I don't know if disappointed is the right word for me for all the same reasons that you just laid out, man. Like I just have a hard time to beat up about this team and some of these games just because we've seen this team just slog through the regular season and then just figure out a way and find a way to become the version of themselves that can win a Super Bowl. And so there's no disappointment for me, but it'll be at least, it'd be fascinating to pay attention to if they lose a game or two, how they do it, why they do it. That's going to be what'll, be kind of interest to me. Is it the offense continuing to putter out and what's going on there or what? I will say, if the Chiefs win against the Bengals on Sunday, I think they're going 5-0 to start heading into the boy. Like I do still think that this Bengals game is their best chance of losing before the bye week. So if they come out of this week unscathed, I'll feel pretty good about it. Now, to be fair, they lost to a terrible Colts team, slogging through a road game early in the season in the last couple of years too. So maybe they let one slip, but I do feel good that they'll take care of business against the Bengals for sure. If they'll be 5-0 for sure if they do that. So, all right. Was Doc asks, I'm gonna ask this question. If you need to bail out of it, you can bail out of it. Who had a worse debut, Tom Brady in the booth or Caleb Williams on the field? I'll just start this one off, and you can just add a little context there. Yeah. That's a tough one. I think they both had some serious rough patches. Tom Brady did not seem comfortable, and he did not seem like he was ready to kind of I don't know. It just feels like he was just very timid about how he was going to communicate some of the things he wanted to communicate. He didn't have the same kind of mystique that Tony Romo had walking into the to the booth where he's predicting plays and some of that kind of stuff and had a good beat on the game plans from the last few years and all that kind of stuff. It just didn't feel like Tom had, Tom's a few years removed from that too anyway. So, yeah. I thought it was a tough, start for him. He didn't seem as comfortable, with a mic in his face. And, it's a big bet that they made on him, but you just saw how natural Greg Olsen was walking into this a few years ago and how good he continues to be and how sustained that success has been for him in the booth. And it's hard not to look at the guy that they kind of demoted essentially, that hit the ground running to what we just saw to Tom. Caleb also very rough, but he's a rookie. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on both of those guys? I won't make you pick, but you just,
Yeah. And Caleb got the win, which at the end of the day, the defense completely carried him. It felt like a Rex Grossman Bears game. in a lot of ways. But and hopefully things continue to improve there. But yeah, with Brady, I think the biggest disappointment to me is, we've heard him on some of these podcasts and things be, keep it real and be harsh on players in this generation and things. And like, he didn't do that during the game. And the moment to me that I was disappointed was where Deshaun Watson takes a sack on fourth down, which is the cardinal sin for quarterbacks. You can't do it. And he didn't criticize the play, really. He was like, well, fourth down, you get some tough play calls. And, to me, I'm losing my mind over that if I'm in. And I think that's the thing when Troy Aikman, I think, has become my favorite commentator because as and he's been doing it a long time, obviously with Chelsea, but there was a moment where he just stopped giving a crap and was willing to speak his mind. And it was then when when he ascended to that to me, because he has the credibility to do it, which Tom does as well. And it's never mean spirited. It's just like he's grumpy about the way I play on it. So it comes off as genuine and he's fair. So I think like Tom, I think that's where he can take a little bit of a lesson. It's like, look at what Troy's doing. There's times you can be harsh. And again, it's always, they say, criticize the play, not the player. And, hopefully it'll just get better from here.
Yeah, Troy told Pat to get 3 Super Bowl rings, then he did. So he's got some access.
I know Chiefs fans don't love it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have a chip on your shoulder. You got to keep that chip on your shoulder. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
With big wireless providers, what you see is never what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone in any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with your existing contacts with you. Ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSN21. That's mintmobile.com/KCSN21. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSN21. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
21 questions here on KC Sports Network. Continuing on here with Matt Hamilton. Hokie Chief asked the question, if I wanted to be the fraud goals for Halloween, how would I do it? I thought a little bit about this one. You can nope out Hamilton. I know we got some Bengals appreciation here, and that's okay. We still love you. We forgive you. I think you just dye your hair yellow. I think you just dye your hair yellow and just put a big red L on your chest, or just maybe walk around with the score of the Patriots Bengals game or something along those lines. So that's I think how I would dress up if I was going to dress up as the Froggles. I don't think I'm going to do that though. I don't know if I'm dressing up as anything. Actually, I do know what I'm dressing up as. I dress up every year the same. I have a Star Wars robe. I have like a Jedi robe. And I was walking around Halloween a couple years ago in our neighborhood, and this kid saw me in the robe. He said, "Hey, hold on real quick." And I see him run into his room, or run into his house, and I just see the lights start going on upstairs. He grabs something in his room. All the lights keep going off on the way. He runs all the way back out. This legit $150 lightsaber. And he's like, "Here, you can have this."
What?
And I said, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I've got 4 of them. I'm going to college. It's okay." So I carry that around every year. I run into that kid every year. He's in the military. So I always bring it over to see him just so he can see that we're taking good care of the lightsaber. I got into a full-fledged impromptu lightsaber fight with some random teenager last year. It was awesome. So that is what I'll be going as. Hamilton, I'm not going to ask you to just completely dunk on the Froggles. I will ask what you would go for as Halloween this year, though.
Oh man, that's an incredible story, by the way. That's awesome. That's I mean, that's
fun, man. Yeah,
that's really cool. I don't know. It's a good question. My wife and I guess I have to figure that out soon. It's coming up.
Are you guys doing like a partner? Like, do you guys do like a tandem costume? Is that you guys?
Yeah, we've done that before. When the Mandalorian came out, I did the Mandalorian. She was Baby Yoda. And she just has like those sweaters with like the baggy sweaters and stuff. Anyway, she like kind of, I would always joke that she kind of dressed like that sometimes. Anyway, so yeah, that was our costume. It was a big hit. I think that was the last time we dressed up. So we have to get back after it this year.
Do you guys Halloween party at all, or are you guys doing mini Halloween parties, or what do you guys do?
That year we went, our friend had a Halloween party, and they like closed out a bar, just for our friend here, which is pretty cool. So we did that. So we've done a couple Halloween parties, I think. Yeah. And then, also we've gone over to, my niece and nephew, take them trick or treating and stuff like that. So that's usually what we do in there. My wife's sister has a little party with all their friends from the neighborhood over. So probably we'll do something like that again this year.
Love it, man. I don't do very many Halloween. I haven't been to a Halloween party in a while, as far as like, just the grown-ups and stuff. But like we do like a big like rib cookout here in the neighborhood, and all of like our, like the families of all the kids and friends in the neighborhood, we all get together and do that. So like that's kind of like that's the thing that we do out here. Give me more. Smith Schuster asks, what's the key to the Chiefs beating the Bengals? And you can't use Patrick Mahomes as the answer. What do you got, Hamilton?
Key to the Chiefs beating the Bengals. I think establishing their run. I think the Bengals really struggled defending the run. They lost DJ Reader. That front had a really rough time against the Patriots. I think if they can get that run game going, against this Bengals front, because obviously I know I can't use Patrick Mahomes, but we know Mahomes is going to do his thing. If they can run the ball as well, it's going to be really hard for the Bengals to win this game.
I think it's going to be interior pressure, and we'll get some more. I'm sure there's going to be plenty from the KC laboratory as well, about some of this stuff. But I do think interior pressure is a big one, just because I think Trent Brown's really bad right now. And if you can, create some good interior pressure, yeah, he looked awful. And so if he's a guy I'm targeting. How you target him, you got to get some rush up the arc, right? But yeah, don't give Joe Burrow anywhere to think good things will really happen for that team. I think it's still the key is to slow down the Bengals, the Bengals offense. So if they can do that, I think that'll go a long way. All right, so Duncan Anglin asks, who's the underdog team you're rooting for this year, college or NFL, Hamilton?
Well, college, I'm not rooting for anybody but my Missouri Tigers, so that's out. NFL-wise, I always try to, I try not to pick favorites. But one team I would like to see that I really enjoyed my visit with when we did our 20-team training camp tour over the summer, was the Washington Commanders. It's impossible not to like Dan Quinn. Awesome guy. What they're doing in that organization to change things after all the mess that went on there under previous ownership is really cool. It's a really likable group there that's trying to get this thing going in the right direction. Adam Peters, I think, is a star and is going to really get things turned around. So, and Jaden Daniels is awesome. So, that's a team I think I have a little bit of a soft spot for, and I'd love to see them turn it around and get something going this year.
I'm going Bears. I really like Ryan Poles. I like the KC, tree, the Veach tree growing a little bit there. I'm excited to see, Caleb Williams got dropped in a phenomenal situation. I think the Bears played that whole thing well, accumulating a lot of draft capital, accumulating some good players, and giving themselves an opportunity to get Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze in the same draft. They've built it right the way I think, the best situation you can drop a rookie quarterback into. And I really enjoy watching, young up-and-coming contenders or teams that can become young, contenders from the ground up. I loved watching Josh Allen when he first started with the Bills. Like, that was a player that I was really just like, I gravitated towards, and I kind of just kept up with like his, career arc. Things have changed a little bit, obviously, in that, but like I've just really enjoyed watching that. So I'm going with the Bears. Isaac Hugh asks, when watching early season games, what are the non-obvious things that you are looking for to determine if a team is on the right track? That's a good question. I could start because like I thought about this one some too. It's just like, I think how consistent is how sustainable is the quarterback play, I think, is one. Like, I love the Anthony Richardson play, and like I know that the Colts still lost, but I also like, yes, that play was sick, and it kind of shows and flexes the ability and the ceiling of that kid, but he's 9-19, some inconsistencies there, is very feast or famine. If you are too feast or famine, like that's something that's going to be of note to me. But if you're generating and creating some consistent drives, and maybe you're making a few mistakes here or there, some of those things are a little bit more fixable than others. If there's some kind of rhythm to what you're doing as a football team, like I think that can kind of matter in that. So I think that's one thing I pay attention to. What about you, Hamilton?
Yeah, I think you hit on that. It's rhythm. It's seeing, these teams that just seem really disjointed. The communication's an issue. They're having to burn timeouts because guys aren't getting lined up in the right spot. Their penalties, like that's the type of stuff that's symptomatic of dysfunction a little bit to me. And obviously everybody, some teams are on their own pace. Some teams have more continuity from one year to the next than others. But I think it's that, like, if there's like a flow to what they're doing offensively, like that's one of the biggest things I look for.
Fryzilla asks, how does not having DJ Reader change the matchup for the Bengals?
I got a little ahead of myself on that one, I guess, but yeah, it does. I think, Sheldon Rankins is an excellent player too, as we've seen over the years, but DJ is different. He's that rare guy that can, play one tech, play nose, generate pressure, and eat up double teams. So it matters a lot not having him out there. When he got to Cincinnati when it wasn't cool to be in Cincinnati, and he kind of changed the entire complexion of that defense. They were they were historically bad against the run the year before he was there. He got there and things changed immediately, and he makes everybody's lives easier. Makes things easier for those linebackers. There is a trickle down effect of him not being there. So it's absolutely something that's a concern for the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm still like, I think we talked a little bit about this. There's a lot to be desired on the defensive line for the Bengals in this first game against a team that a lot of people were concerned the New England Patriots were going to get Drake May killed with the offensive line that they were rolling. Yeah, a lot of people were concerned about the talent of that offensive line, who had a lot of comfort trying to try to move that Bengals front and protecting Jacoby Brissett, who ultimately got the job. I think DJ Reader is a huge factor in that team's success in recent years. I think he's a steady presence along that interior. So, I do think he's a big loss for this team. And I think the early returns are not great without him. And I think that it's a stylistic shift, like you said, from a Rankins to a Reader as far as a blue chip or a high level player that you're trying to, spend a little bit of money on along your interior. Yeah, Reader's a big loss. Okay. Lance Zim, one game into the regular season, what are the top 3 positions you are considering with the 32nd pick in the upcoming NFL draft, Hamilton? What do you got?
Oh no, this is where we're at right now. And it is, it's an embarrassment of riches. Top 3, I guess you're looking at safety. Justin Reed's in a contract year, so it's safety. I'd be looking at cornerback, like you talked about. And I guess edge rusher too. I know they went there recently, but again, we've seen teams just load up there, and it never hurts. So those would be my top 3.
So for me, I think I'd go cornerback, just because even if you feel good about your cornerbacks and if you're signing Trent McDuffie, you're still like Jalen Watson, Joshua Williams are going to both be in contract years heading into next year. This team really does like to get ahead of some of their contract years with, having some players in the pipeline. So they're not super well insulated at the cornerback position. So I think cornerback makes a ton of sense if the value falls there. I'd look at guard. And this is a little bit of projection, but I just don't think there's a world where Trey Smith and Joe Thuney are on this team next year. I don't think it's a both thing. I think there's a chance one of them is at least, but I have a hard time believing both are, which means you're going to need a guard. The guard out of Arizona, he's actually a tackle, but a lot of people project him to move inside a guard. He would be a fun one. I'm not going to pronounce his name right now. It's still September. Give me at least until January to get the name right.
I love how you're already on it though. You have targets already for that 32nd pick. This is that's what makes you the best.
Dude, Arizona's got a corner too. I've been trying to stay out ahead of it a little bit more this year just to help pace that mad dash. I'd like the hay to be in the barn on my write-ups a lot earlier this year. And so that way I can I do a lot of the administrative stuff than when we do our draft guide. So I have to compile the book and all that stuff. I'd rather have a lot of my work done earlier this year. So I'm trying to stay out ahead of it. Edge rusher, you're right. I think edge rusher makes sense. Linebacker too, because if I don't know what's going to happen with the Bolton situation, if they're going to pay him or what his contract's ultimately going to be. But if you look at outside of him, you've got Drew Tranquil will be in a contract year, and Leo Chanel will be in a contract year too. So that's a couple spots. The bill will be coming due on the 2022 draft class very quickly with the corners and the linebackers. So that's a position I think I would pay some attention to as well. All right, Kyle C asked this question, and I'm going to frame it in a way that is a lot not going to disparage you or make you, a clip of you disparaging Cincinnati. But as far as a friendly rivalry diss is concerned, do you think the name Fraud Goals or Discount Cleveland is a funnier diss in a friendly rivalry between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals?
I mean, again, not that I want to disparage anybody, but Cleveland has no claim to anything over the Bengals right now. And I think that one has to be put to bed for sure. And guys, I mean, this is a great rivalry. I don't know why we need to disparage the rivalry by calling anybody frauds either. This has been back and forth as even. I think Bills fans are jealous that the Bengals have the rivalry that they actually won with the Chiefs. I don't like when they're trying to make Josh Allen versus Mahomes into Peyton Manning and Tom Brady during that playoff game all game long. Burrow has had a better claim, I think, to that comparison. So, I love it. I love the trash talking that goes on both sides. But this is an awesome rivalry, and we should celebrate the fact that we have a genuinely great one in the NFL that should be going on for years to come between these two quarterbacks.
Sports hate, man. It's sports hate. And it's fun. I genuinely and it is a fun rivalry. And there's a lot of talking and genuine sports hate. Jamar Chase won't say Patrick Mahomes' name. They tried to name Arrowhead after Joe Burrow. It's just a lot. There's a lot of sports hate going, and it's great. And someday Joseph Osai should be have his name retired in the rafters. That's going to do it for this episode of 21 Questions. Thank you all so much for listening, for watching. We support you. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll catch you later.